Saurabh. Am I audible?
Yes, sir. Loud and
Okay,
clear.
thank you. So to start with, just a brief intro. So I completed my schooling from Bihar, Patna. My father was in army, so I got to see a lot of places in India. And after that, I did my engineering, and then I worked in multinational outside India also. And then I appeared for civil services in 2011, cleared it, and joined in 2012. Now the changing point which you are asking, so hailing from Bihar, Patna basically, so we have seen the Patna or Bihar of 90s, and we have seen the different scenarios over there. And most of people, if you see the large section of people in Bihar, or if you say eastern UP, or for that matter even in Bengal, if you see the middle class or lower middle class, so you have this feeling right from the school time how to create the changes, how to make an impact so that we see a social changes in our society. So with that dream, I went for my engineering, and after engineering, when I was working with the software companies, I also was involved with certain NGOs. I used to teach students during weekends when I was working in multinationals. And at the same time, there was a different NGO, just like what you are doing right now. So back, let's say around 10 years back, even I was doing the same thing.
Right.
I had a team which were working for election kind of awareness. Uh, I talked to a lot of people, like Mr. Jayaprakash. Even
Yes.
we had a session with him. And then
Right.
at that time, I listened to him. He told me, if you want to make a change in society, then you have to start at the grassroots level. And the basic thing is that how will you ensure that people come and participate in electoral process, right? If you want to create a change, then how will you create the change? Governance. I mean, governance or government is the one thing where if you create change, then only you see changes at the grassroots level. So I used to work for this small team, and we used to fill up the election enrollment form for the people so that they get their name into that electoral roll. So that was the small thing which I started with. If you talk about the governance thing, obviously I was working with the social issues also, and then this governance issue. From there, I realized that this is a small platform, and now if I have to move to the bigger platform, then I have to join the civil services. Obviously politics is the one thing, but politics, obviously it has a different route. You must have heard about School of Governance, MIT SOG, in Pune. So I was in Pune at that time. So I explored that thing also, that youth parliament and everything. Then I realized that there are certain section of people like you, new people, youth, who are working, trying to get into the politics to create the change. But meanwhile, there is another section known as civil services, who are also working at the grassroots level, who can create the change. So that pushed me into appearing for this civil services. And after that, I cleared. And then after that, I have been working. I had my postings in SP Amroha, which you mentioned in this brief intro. After that, I worked in Ambedkar Nagar, which is Eastern UP, Farrukhabad. It's a basically army camp area. And then I worked as a SSP Itawa, and then SP Rampur. And right now I'm in Lucknow. So it has been a good journey till now, all working at the grassroots level.
So it is a really motivating factor to hear that from you. And these kind of words actually make us more confident that maybe we are in the right track, and going forward, we'll be able to achieve what we are trying to do. So, sir, being a policeman, so what are the key gaps that you'd like to highlight that creates a certain kind of disconnect between the police and the community? And if you could also highlight what are the various initiatives you have taken to fill up this gap?
If we talk about the police and public disconnect, then first of all, we have to accept. Anything start with acceptance. Like you have started something, organization with acceptance that there is a need to improve the certain things. So first of all, let me start with the acceptance that yeah, there is a need to bridge that gap. There is a gap, and now why there is a gap? Because of the experiences which people had. Okay, now to start with, the basic policing, it involves law and order, crime investigation, and basic crime prevention thing. So the kind of experiences which people had with the police, that formed an opinion that whenever if you approach the police, you will get a different kind of perspective or a different treatment than what you are expecting. But as new people are joining the services, the IPS, the IAS, and civil services, we are seeing the changes. Like if I speak for myself, uh, we are working on this very prime thing. The first thing is that whenever people come to, let's say, police station or approach police, then we have a setup where we listen to them. Okay, general crime I'm talking about. And then when you are investigating crime or helping them out, we have the specialized team, because right now we have a kind of different different type of setups like cyber crime, economic offenses. The technology world is moving very fast. So police also has to improve themselves in terms of infrastructure and technical things. Because for example, if you come to me and say ATM fraud has happened with me, and then you investigate it, if I don't have that infrastructure or that competence, what I will do, I will make some excuses, and then that will leave you with a kind of impression that police is not helping me. But the real cause is that I didn't have the competence, right? So this kind of scenarios were there. But now overall, the government and the police leaderships, they are working to upgrade the skill set of the people, the police people. And the second thing is that the infrastructure is being revamped. Infrastructure as in, we have the special police team for investigation. We have different teams dealing with the law and order. So we have kind of a lot of changes going on in terms of infrastructure and human resource management. Third perspective is how you talk, right? If you come to me and if I misbehave with you, maybe I may be having a different problem, personal issue or some family issues. But the first thing that should be taught to a police constable is that you have to talk, sense to whosoever is coming to you. So this kind of trainings are also being provided to the police. This is the third thing. And fourth thing, what you talked about is community policing. So community policing is basically a proactive approach where you are going proactively to the public and expressing yourself. Like right now, what you are doing, I take this also as a part of community policing. Okay, because because I'm not just a police officer or IPS, I am a representative of so many policemen of India. Because if you have good impression with me, you will have in general, will have a good impression of policeman. So every police person has a responsibility that they engage with the community at whatever level possible. Maybe it may be through your NGO, or it may be through a common street vendor. So this is what we do. And apart from that, we have different projects which are running. We have projects for engaging with the women and girls. Like 1090 is a scheme which we have in Uttar Pradesh, where we go to different colleges and schools where we address the concerns of girls, the school-going girls, and we teach them whatever precautions or whatever how they need to deal with this kind of eve teasing or any woman-related crime. But at the same time, we teach our boys also, the school boys and school college boys also, how to behave with the women. Both the things which we are doing. Another sector is old age people, the senior citizen. So we have different laws for the senior citizens. So we engage with senior citizens. I personally do engage with senior citizens, like during the festivals or let's say during the new year. I make it a point to visit old age home, whichever I have in my district, and to engage with them, listen to their problem and try to solve them. Because government, if you look at the law or the government, they have so many laws. They have tried to address the concerns of this section of people, the weaker section. That means the women, children, or old age people through laws. But who is responsible for implementing? I'm the responsible. And how will I implement? If I engage with the people. And who is looking at me? You are looking at me, because you are asking me question. Okay, sir, I found this problem. There is a gap. How will you address that? So we all are contributing. The legislature, what you call as a parliament, is legislating the law. It's giving us a law. Look, this is a set of rules. You have to implement it. I'm implementing it. Judiciary is keeping a watch on me. And then so civil society, what I call as you are asking me questions. sir ye kyun hua, kaise hua. So this is a kind of check and balance which we need to have, and we are working with all these stakeholders to make sure the society get the good governance which they are expecting from these law enforcement agencies or the police.
Right, sir. Sir, but often I think this is very, very encouraging to hear the kind of initiative you have taken. But in the system, we find that most of the initiatives are individual driven than the system driven. So, what would be your comment on that? Suppose when you move from one deputation to another, so how is the sustainability of this are taken care of?
The basic focus on whatever initiatives which we are taking is we are documenting it. We are documenting it, taking it forward to our senior officers, and through government, we are trying to come up with a certain solution, like unique solution. I will talk about 1090. 1090, what we call as Mahila Suraksha or Women Helpline. So 1090, it started obviously with an individual effort, and later on it became a whole pan UP project. Similarly, 112, what we call as first responder, it started with an individual thing in a particular district, and later on it became a pan India initiative. So right now in almost all the districts we have a dedicated 112 system, what we call as emergency system. We have the vehicles over there. So that has become the pan district solution. Another thing which I would like to highlight regarding the women initiative for the women safety. So in couple of districts, when I was in SSP Itawa, so with my IG sir, we started an initiative that in this 112 vehicles, what we call number 100 vehicle also in some of the states, we started having the women constable, the ladies constable, to help out, especially the ladies or the women in the districts. So what used to happen that any ladies or any girl students or any college students calls on 112 and says that we need help. We are going from the college and we need help to reach our home. We used to provide that service also during the late hours, like if it's evening or it's dark, we used to provide this service. So this started with 2-3 districts. Okay. Now we made a presentation before our senior officers, and this project was implemented in whole of the UP, all the districts. This project started. So these are the initiatives which we have to take. First, we implement it, we get the result documented and make the presentation to the government, because at the end of the day, it's the government who has to allocate the fund, because we need fund, we need human resources. So that's how it works. You prove your point and then make a presentation. And similarly, there are so many examples, like I told you about the old age home thing. And during one of the Diwali festival, or we got a kind of from our DGP sir, from our government, then all the district chief or police people have to visit the old age home and children who are underprivileged, and make sure they observe this Diwali or Holi or Eid with all the pompous which other people are doing. So how it started? It started with just one person. But when we got the good result, the people like you appreciated, people like you shared, these are the good things which are being done in a particular district, then it get noticed. So exposure is the one thing. So I would say, apart from the police, because what is police? Police is basically helping society. We need civil society also, because at the end of the day, who are all these people? They are part of the civil society. So when civil society appreciate the work, then those things get noticed, and the model gets followed in other areas also.
Right. So also we have often seen that whichever station you are deputed, you'd always take your cops for running in the morning. So do they continue running after you get transferred, or they leave it there only?
Look, fitness is very important part, which right. I feel, because if you are fit, if you are happy, then only you can keep other people happy and other people fit. This is the first thing, and it's all about image also. The first thing which you look in the police, whether he's fit or unfit, because that's my profession. Exactly. If I talk to any NGO, I have to talk about what kind of project are you working at the grassroots level or not. Are you working for the poor people or not? If you're not working, then you are not doing your job. So this is my job, and this is the police person job. So if I'm happy, you will come to me. And so I will serve the purpose which society is expecting from me. So even if I get transferred, there are so many people, just because for over the year, they have realized the benefit of this fitness, they keep continuing it. And whenever I start this fitness thing, I tell them just one thing: you are not doing it for yourself. You are doing it for your family, for your children. Why? Because you already have so much of stress. So if you prolong your life, it's your children, it's your family who's going to get benefited. And people have seen changes in their life. It has lowered down their stress level, lower down their diabetes and other issues they used to have. So it has helped them in that sense, and people have picked up. In the same thing, I would like to highlight another point also. I used to organize marathon for the local people also. When I was in, let's say, in any district, I used to get the people who are, let's say, preparing for army or police, and we used to provide training to them. Like running, obviously running is very basic part of army selection or police selection. We used to train for that. And then we had a certain officer from the police who used to guide them regarding the written part also. So it helped in both the ways, by policemen also, and it helped the local people, because, you know, in the outskirts, in this kind of districts, like in let's say in Ambedkar Nagar or Farrukhabad or Itawa, we have this villages which are 50 kilometers, 60 kilometers from the main district areas, and they have a lot of talent. So if you tap those talent and if you train them for a particular job, and that job can be anything. But since they are good in running, good in physical fitness, army and paramilitary are the best thing for them. So this is the what initiative, whichever district I go, I make it a point that I engage with this youth, that 16 years to 30 years, and make sure they do productive job. And just imagine if this good runners, you know, very good runner, very good fitness, and if we don't tap their talent, and out of poverty, what can they do? You can imagine. They can turn into crime also. I have studied this phenomena that lot of criminals, the younger one, the criminals, they are out of choice. I mean, if you don't tap them, don't guide them, you know, people will make use of them. They are a lot of you know, what we call as old ghag, like older criminals, which who always look for this kind of youth. So if we don't tap the youth, if you don't tap the youth, if you don't engage, I don't engage, civil society don't engage with this youth, so they will turn into a, you know, kind of anti-society behavior. So that's what I try to do, and that has given a very good result, because this youth keep me calling, कि sir हमारा selection यहाँ पे हो गया, I got selected in army, I got selected into police. And that's the good thing, you know, that's the best thing which you can do, even when you get transferred. And if you get this kind of calls, and if you have done something for the youth, then obviously that gives you a lot of self-satisfaction.
Right, sir. And also I can remember one of your quote that sweat more during the time of peace so that you have to breathe less during the time of war. So I think that is a very, very important message to all the policemen. So, sir, sir, it is indeed great to know the kind of engagements you're doing, not only with the people in the system, but also reaching out to so many youths. So before I come to the questions on youth, so there is always a talk about police reforms. And so you are also trying to create an example or institutionalize the concept of community policing so that you can create a better image for policies, which is much required in the free and independent India. But is there enough capacity in terms of infrastructure and manpower to implement such initiatives in place?
Look, yeah. So police reform is a pertinent question for very long. And if we see historically, if we talk about some history, then obviously the Police Act 1861, it came after the 1857, the first mutiny which we had for the independence. So at that time, the act which came, it was basically for the suppressing the freedom of speech and the thoughts, so that the Britishes can have a very good kind of command over the Indian subjects. So that was the purpose of that act which came in 1861. Then obviously after independence, after 1947, the India changed and the society changed. And during this time, during this present time, we had so many disputes or so many judgments regarding the freedom of speech, the Article 19 of Constitution. Then we had Article 21, the right to life, so many observations from the courts and judiciary. Now, this all goes parallel. Freedom of speech, right to life. So when police comes into the picture, the law enforcement comes into the picture. Obviously, there's a question of human rights, the suppression of freedom of speech, the Article 19, Article 20s, and all these things. So then started a movement for the police reform in terms of everything, internal reform and external reform. Because at the end of the day, what I am an institution, I am a part of government. And what I'm supposed to do, I'm supposed to provide a governance, a good governance to you. And what should be my good governance? Driven by the citizen charter. What is citizen charter? So basically the set of points which I need to provide you. And we have different judgments from the judiciary, which we need to follow. Like if we talk about arrest and all those things, we have set of parameters. Like there should be a different cell for women, there should be a different jails for man. With this comes the question of infrastructure. Do we have the capacity? If we don't have the capacity, we have to get the money for the police things. And nowadays, because of internal reform and because of the judiciary oversight, these all issues are being addressed. We have a lot of new police stations which have come up. Then there was a drive for women police station, women-centric police station in every district. So now we have one police station dedicated for women and girls in every district. Okay, this is the one change which has come up. And similarly, we have different cells now. Like the important question nowadays is cybercrime. We have, because the society has changed and all the crimes have moved to, a major part of the crime has moved to cyber world. ATM fraud, if you say, the phone issues, everything which you say. So for that, in every district now, we have one cybercrime kind of police station or cybercrime unit. And similarly, we have dedicated units for dedicated kind of crimes. And for that, infrastructure has been ramped up. So third thing, fourth major issue, which has always been a point of bone of contention, is that human resource. Do we have enough policemen to man the growing population of the country, right? Because if we don't have enough administrators, we are not going to get good governance. So similarly, if we don't have, let's say, if in Kolkata, if you have certain areas, if there are 1 lakh people, there we have 100 policemen. And similarly, there is a population of 10 lakh in a particular area. And if at the same point, we have again 100 people. So they are not going to administrate it. It's become very difficult. So we are addressing, the government is addressing these issues also. Obviously, there is a lag in that. Obviously, it's not, there is much to do in that, but at least those questions are in public domain, government domain, and the number of, the strength of constables or the strength of policemen is being increased. So that is another thing which is being done. So infrastructure wise, we are doing good. The fifth important things which we should know, weapons, the kind of weapons which we have. So we had these weapons from the British time or old time, like 302 rifles. That has been phased out. If you watch these movies, old movies, Sholay and all, you can see those rifles. Angrezo ke time ke hain. Right. So those all things which we have, but the current governments or the previous government, they have taken note of that, and we are seeing the changes in weaponry also. And obviously, the major part is forensic. Do we have the capacity to investigate crucial crimes like DNA? A lot of things has moved to DNA now. So we have a lot of new forensic labs, DNA labs are coming up. So these are technical things, but since you have started this conversation, you should have an idea. A lot of new things are being done. So that's why I'm mentioning that two things you can take it from what I said. One is working on the cyber thing, and one is you take forensic thing. Because DNA profiling and everything, it's like basically we engage with the other, like NYPD, Newark Police Department. Then we engage with the London Police Department. So whatever new technologies are there, we try to get it into India also. And similarly, for the vehicles, for the houses, for the buildings, for the policemen, that has all been worked into. But yes, a lot needs to be done on infrastructure, and that is being done. So slowly we will see in coming days, coming years, we'll see a lot of changes into police department.
Right. No, indeed, we really need to compliment our government also. They are also trying their level best to bring the much needed changes which was required for so many years. So, sir, we have a question from the audience. So the question is mainly focusing on the police officers who are in the constable level and SHO level. The question goes like this, that although the IAS and IPS officers listen to public, but same time it is not. The person is mainly saying that when we go to local police station and interact with constable, they don't respond to public grievances. Don't you think training should be given to all the police officers so that they are easily approachable and listen to public issues? It will help to gain the public confidence. So obviously the ratio you have mentioned, so that is one of the problem which you are thinking, but if you have any other inputs on this question.
Yeah, regarding this question, the first issue which I will tell you, even these people, these constables or this sub-inspector, this part of the police, they also come from the society. So when we train them, because I have also conducted as part of district SP, you have to train the new force which is coming into the police. So when we do the training, we make it a point that all these questions which we are mentioning, we address them, we take it to our constabulary, to the officers, our sub-inspector, inspector, and we give them a set of things which they need to follow whenever a complainant comes. The first thing is, first solution is that the training. So we do train them. The second thing, following the citizen charter. I told you about a citizen charter. The citizen charter is like set of the things which needs to be done. For example, if you have applied for passport verification, so there is a set of rule on citizen charter, how many days that should take. Then similarly, if you apply for tenant verification, we have a number of days prescribed. So everything is a part of charter which needs to be followed. So that is also being given to our constabulary and our the people who are at the police station level. And obviously, we have the session from the civil society, like NGOs and the people, good people from the society who come and tell about all those things. The fourth part is what we do. We conduct a session in school and colleges where these people address those students. Why we do that? So that they get responsible. They themselves feel. For example, if I am addressing you, so obviously I'm an IPS. Okay, I can have a world view. But what I have done, or what I did, or what our police is doing is that we make our constable address the concern of common people, okay, in school and colleges, because we have so many schools, and we try to cover all these, even the smaller schools like primary schools, through these constables. So when they directly interact with the children or the civil society, and when the civil society tells them, look, you didn't register my FIR or didn't register my complaint, then they realize, what I did was not wrong, or I asked for the bribe. So we bridge this gap through interaction. This is the one thing which I did. This is one part, training and sensitization. Another part is the solution part I will talk about. Even after all these things, if it's not happening, what should be the solution? The solution is that every SP or every superintendent of police, they have a dedicated number, a dedicated government number, which is open 24/7. If you have called me, right? You have called that's my government number. And today also, when you called me, I picked up because it's my responsibility. I didn't know who's calling me, but I have to take the call because that is something that is an initiative which is government has taken, which our senior officer has taken. And through that, you can convey me anything. Like if someone is asking for bribe, or if you are having any problem in registering a complaint. So we have this dedicated government number. And believe me, this is one of the biggest relief which people have, because at the, in the night, even if you call me at 2 o'clock, I have to take up the call and listen. Ki, haan, kya hua hai? Okay. So that is one part. Another part, if I move to technology, now I will talk about the youth, the coming generation, the new generation. What's the solution? The solution is, if you tweet and tag UP Police, 100% it will get addressed. We have the Facebook page, we have the Twitter. If you tweet, you will get the relief. And I will give you the example. During Corona time, there are umpteen number of people, so many people who tweeted, because there are so many people who are calling SPs and constables when everyone is stuck somewhere. Now we had this Twitter, we had this number, the government number, and people used to call, and the same police provided relief to so many people. And even you will admit that during Corona times, or people, the police personnel, they went out of way to help people. And I understand the concern. The same level of governance you want 24/7 throughout the day, not during your Corona times, but the same people who we accuse so many times that they didn't listen to us, they did listen and they did wonderful job. So we must compliment them also, with a caution or with a kind of point that they should continue it throughout the year. So these are the technical solution which can be implemented going technology. And apart from that, if we talk about this, then I would like to highlight the 112 number or dial 100 number in some of the states, where you can call and you can register your complaint also. At the same time, I will give another technical solution, eFIR. There is something called eFIR, that is electronic FIR, which you can register. So what you have to do, you just have to go to the concerned state police website. You have to log in and you can lodge your FIR through your portal also. And if you talk about the cybercrime, we have a dedicated cybercrime portal where you can register your cybercrime related crime. And for women also, we have a portal, a portal where you can send your complaints. Why am I telling you? Because in this change environment, I don't want my youth, or don't want my college person, or don't want my sister sitting there and thinking, yaar, kya kare, what to do? These people are teasing me, what to do? No, you don't have to wait. You tweet it, because you are from the new generation. You are very well versed with the technical things. You call me, or you can tweet me, or you can simply go to the website, you can register. This is for the people who are fortunate to have good education. And there is another section which are poor, which are in villages. That's why we have regular meetings with them. Different kind of approach which I take, which I've already told you, like how I keep on visiting things and keep on doing the route march, keep on engaging with the youth. So that's a different thing. This is the one solution which I have given for people like you. And with your help, I can take this initiative to the areas where maybe I'm not reaching, or I'm reaching late.
So I think this is one kind of good thing, that when we have an interaction, that people are aware of so many good things that are happening in the system. Because unfortunately, our media would like to highlight more of sensational news than showing the good things which are happening through government. And thankfully, through social media, also we are getting to know about the various initiatives. Like that's how I came to know how good you are performing in your districts, and new initiatives have been taken. And I am sure that this kind of engagement, as more and more we engage with the system, so the audience at large gets a sense of the positive side of engaging with system. So we have, sir, one question from Vinay, one of the co-founder of YFGG. Vinay, you may ask your question.
Yes, sir. Good evening. My name is Vinay Bhushan. I am based in Bengaluru. Sir, you touched upon a couple of technical aspects in your talk, that's going on. If I could stretch that a little bit, sir, and bring to you the whole concept of communication technologies and data privacy issues. We are seeing given the rapid pace of technological change, it's become surveillance issues and privacy issues are coming to the fore. So as somebody who's a senior officer in a large state like Uttar Pradesh, what is your take on this?
Okay, so privacy. Okay, when I was answering a question, I mentioned about 2 articles of Constitution. One is freedom of speech, that is Article 19, and then obviously there is Article 21, right to life. Okay, these are the 2 most important thing and kind of basic structure of the Constitution. Why I'm talking about this before going to the police part? I'm talking about this because whatever administration or whatever government we have in our country, the basic source is Constitution. It comes down to the Constitution, what Constitution is saying. What's my prime duty? Safeguarding Constitution. So what the question which you have asked, so I will stretch it a bit and I will talk about this freedom of freedom of speech and right to life also. Now, if I mention, let's say we had Information Technology Act, IT Act, and then we had a section in that, 66A. And that was a kind of ultra vires. The Supreme Court gave a verdict that 66A is unconstitutional and it struck it down. So it's very important that whenever the laws are being framed, when the laws are being framed and judiciary is scrutiny it, at that level itself, we have a check and balance, okay? And how it's coming? It's coming through civil societies. Because there was this girl, in this particular judgment also, there was this girl, Shreya Shingal, who had petitioned in Supreme Court, and in that judgment itself, we got the 66A strike down. Now, again, if I talk about, then there was another ordinance of the Kerala. Kerala ordinance was there. Since you are in Bangalore, you must have heard about this change into the Police Act of the Kerala. A new ordinance had come up a month back, and that was taken back by the government because of the certain issues, same issues, freedom of speech and other issues. Now, when we as a police officer, when we talk about these issues, data protection issues, we make it a point. For example, nowadays there is a lot of things which is coming on the social media. Okay, social media things is there, and a lot of data is being exposed. So there is an IT Act, Information Technology Act is there, which drives the legal aspect of it. Okay. And apart from that, if you take it a step ahead, if you talk about, let's say, maybe EVM thing or Aadhaar data that it doesn't get leaked, or other kind of data which don't get leaked, then there are a lot of things which are being done. And then there is a new bill coming up, data security protection bill. It's coming up, and hopefully that will the things will get addressed in that particular act also. One thing which I would like to highlight, since you are mostly focusing on youth and governance, I would like to highlight, since this bill is up for consultation, why don't we motivate people to go and contribute into this particular act, that what we want and what we don't want? Because obviously the Constitution, there are three parts, mostly: legislature, executive, and judiciary. So when it gets legislated, when an act is made, then only it comes to me. That is the part of executive. So at legislature level itself, protection, the kind of protection which we are expecting. So that particular bill is up for consultation. And then I hope, and then I will request you also, that we educate people to contribute into this kind of consultation. And that would probably help to get a new bill. So that is the one part which through which we can address this data security part. And obviously there is a law is there, and through law, IT Act and other IPC Act, we can address this kind of issues.
Right, sir. So thank you, sir, for that, taking that question. So the last question for the day, although you have mentioned about how you are engaging youth in your district, but also in general. So how do you think youth can be better engaged, or how they can play a role in the modern policing?
Okay, this is a very important question, because my philosophy has always been that if you don't involve your stakeholders, right, then you can't have any kind of governance, be it policing or be it education or health, anything. So you have to involve your stakeholders, and the youth is our biggest stakeholder. Why I'm saying this? Because if you two perspectives we take, if you talk about law and order, and if you talk about the crime. So if you talk about the crime, you see a good portion of the criminals come from the youth, and then we have to tap them first thing. And obviously during the law and order, when we see agitations or any kind of dharna pradarsan or protest, the nuisance element, they are a good part, like peaceful protester, and then there is a nuisance elements also. So this also comes mostly from the youth part, because they have a lot of energy. So it's very important to tap their energy and utilize in right direction. Now, how we can do that? Few points I've already mentioned, like involving them into kind of initiatives which you take, And initiatives can be anything, organizing classes for them, organizing marathon for them, and focusing on particular education. Like right now, I'm running a YouTube channel, Education Santosh Mishra IPS, YouTube channel. And what I do, I take up the classes or make the videos for UPSC and for other. I've just started that. Why I do that? Because even if I am able to change, life of few youth, few people, it's worth it. It's worth it. It's worth my effort. Every day I give up, like after my work, I give up like 2-3 hours to that particular video, that particular YouTube channel. So that is the one part, to engage with the youth. The second thing is that use of technology. Youth nowadays, they are well versed with the technology. Maybe if you invite them for a session at a particular hall, they may not turn up. But if you do like a Zoom call or a kind of a live video on Facebook or YouTube, they will connect with you. So you have to engage with the youth through new technical things which have come up. You have to talk into their language. You can't have the same language which you had like 10 years back. You can't do that. Like, for example, if I don't know how to operate Zoom today, I can't connect with you. And if I'm not connecting with you, I can't, whatever, I can converse with you. Another point is that another major initiative, we had a lot of these people who used to come up, like youth. They used to engage with us in traffic management. Like the first point which they had used to have kind of street play. They used to have street play or kind of door-to-door campaign. And then we had this children from the schools or NCC kind of giving up flowers to people who are wearing the helmet. So that kind of initiative which we had, where we connected with school children also and college children also. So that was one initiative. Then we had certain NGOs of the youth. They participated in this traffic things by giving away certain helmets. By giving the helmets and traffic rules and helmet awareness program was there. Then there was an initiative, I will tell you, in my district also, I took up this initiative with the help of people only. I will tell you, we had this Mission Milap. In this Mission Milap, this family issues we used to take up, like husband-wife issue or the father-son issues. And we had older people also there from NGOs. And then we had the younger people also there from the NGOs. And they used to converse with these people. And after, let's say, after an effort of 1 month or 2 months, we used to get the very good result. We used to have the union of this family. And then we kind of felicitated them. So this was the biggest, biggest way you can contribute, by addressing the social issues. And in almost all the districts, we have this kind of initiatives by different name. Like I gave it Mission Milap kind of things, like addressing family issue. So this also youth can contribute. Then obviously, while I was in, let's say, in Ambedkar Nagar, I had the engineering college boys and girls. They took up Safai Abhiyan, Swachhta Abhiyan. So I engaged with them. There is a video also on YouTube. They came to my office, and we cleaned up the things. And I gave a session also to them, like what to do and what not to do during engineering, all those things. So this is the kind of engagement which we are having. Why I'm saying engagement? Because if they come up to me, let's say an engineering boy, first year, second year, they come up to me, a district SP, he has got a lot of things to do. But I just need to give a pat on back. You're doing really good. I just have to give a 10 minutes. It's a very good initiative. Continue it. And that helps them. So one way, when youth are doing that, we have to encourage them. So that was the one way they can contribute. And apart from that, governance is a wide area. And I'm not even talking about the crime. Like you give me information, for example, if we talk about the crime, you can provide the information regarding the bad elements which are there, the crimes which being done, that you can, obviously that's the area, that's the prime area which you can contribute or youth can contribute. But there are two major things which I would like to highlight. I would just like to highlight one example. Just few days back, one girl, she messaged me on Facebook, sir, I'm from so and so city. And I said, yes, tell me. Because sir, in our city, there is a Kasbah, there is a particular locality. Over there, this girls foetus kind of things was happening, that what we call gender identification or sex identification in a particular nursing home, it was going on. It's banned. It's a kind of ban of sex identification is banned in India, and this practice was being done. And this particular girl, she messaged me. So I conveyed the thing to concerned SSP. Look, this is this and this thing happening, and he took the action. So why I'm giving example? Because this is something technically, because I didn't know, and she told me that, sir, mera naam nahi aana chahiye. But I will take care of that, because now you have told me, I will convey it to the concerned person. So this is the one thing how you can contribute. You are technically enabled. You just have to go to that particular district SP, Twitter or Facebook. You just message it, sir, this is the something which is taking place, which you are against it. Right. So that is one part. And similarly, one area which I would like to touch, that is the drugs part, because there are a lot of drugs, drugs which is happening in the school and colleges. So if we make it a policy, like youth make it a policy, like, yaar, ye sahi nahi hai, this is not the good. If we are intolerant about that, then you must raise the voice. Why I'm telling about the drugs? Because what happens? There are certain people, there are certain youth in college, who somehow enjoy drugs. Yaar, chalta hai yaar, theek hai, I'm enjoying it. But at the same time, there are certain section of students who get pushed into that because of the peer pressure, and it's not good from them. It's not good from them. So if it's like rampant, this drug problem is rampant in any hostel or any university, that should be addressed, and you can inform us, like this is the thing which is going on. And obviously there is a cyber crime and all sort of things which you can address. But I will stress, in the end, I will stress engaging technically. Engaging technically means, I know you want to be anonymous. You don't want to, a lot of people come up to me, sir, humko isme padhna nahi hai. So use technology, use WhatsApp, use Facebook, Twitter, message it, ki sir, ye hai, this is the problem which is taking place in our locality, and that is done. And at the local part, we have the teams. In the villages, we have different teams of youth. Like in my state also, lot of SPs, they have formed the local groups for every village. And this local group of youth, whatever information is there, whatever things are there, they do provide it to us. Last thing which I would like to highlight is civil defense. There is a team, it's known as civil defense. So civil defense is a kind of voluntary organization where we tap the power of youth and the retired people. So in my districts, like when I was in Muzaffarnagar, we had this whole Kanwad kind of thing. Kanwad is like, you get the Ganga water from Haridwar or from the Gangotri, and then you come to Shiv temple, and it's like 10-15 days affairs. So that's a big thing, very big thing. Lot of crowd passing through your district. So what we did, because you can't have policemen in middle of those people who are religious. You can't control them through kind of sticks and all. That will create a chaos. What we did, we got people, we got our youth, our retired people, and then they used to man the traffic junctions. Traffic junction, ki sir yahan chaliye, bole yahan chaliye, baba yahan chaliye. So when you like look, if in uniform, if my constable says, "Ar baba yahan chalo," and Saurav says, "Ki baba please yahan chaliye," so there is a difference. And what I did, I just talked to you. What I will do, I will just call Saurav ki yaar mujhe na ek team chahiye. Just come with your team. It's just like 5 days work and only 2 hours. You come, those people used to come after the college or daily activities. They used to come up in the night for 2 hours. They used to give their service, and we had very good organization of that thing. And similarly, in other districts also, lot of us followed it by tapping the youth. We used to engage them for 2-3 hours, 4 hours. So for example, if you have time in the morning, you come in the morning, give your service for 2 hours, and then you go. And what I used to give, we used to give a certificate. College ka hai, you get a certificate, you have contributed in this, and this will amply, it will help you in your further efforts which you are taking in your career or everything. So this was the biggest thing, biggest power of the youth I have seen. And if you search for, or if you Google this Kanwad Mela in Muzaffarnagar area, you will realize how big it is. or for that matter, Kumbh Mela of Prayagraj, the erstwhile Allahabad. And we all conducted it only because of the help of the local youth. Okay? So this is the biggest thing which you can contribute during the law and order during this thing. And again, lastly, I will highlight the CA protest. When I was in SSP Tower,
we really compliment that initiatives.
Yes. So what was that? It was not like one day effort. I told you, throughout wherever I go, I make it a point that I engage with my youth. I talk to them. बिना काम के भी, हाँ Saurabh, how are you? Is it going good? So you get a feel कि अरे यार सर से तो आराम से हम converse कर सकते हैं. Unnecessarily we are fearful of police. So how you create a rapport? Not in one day. You create a rapport over the period of time. 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, over the months. And when you have that rapport, and when you see that same person having a stone in your hand and ready to shatter your head, that's the same guy. Then with the crowd of 1 lakh people, when he sees you, the kind of eye contact is there. He realized कि यार सर ने तो मेरा हालचाल पूछा था, पत्थर इन पे कैसे चलाऊं मैं. 2 बार तुम सोचोगे. You will think twice. You are driven by your passion. कि यार मेरे को पत्थर चलाना है. I have to burn this shop. I have to do this पत्थराव, stone pelting. But सर तो वही है ना जिन्होंने ऐसे पूछा था यार everything fine. Then that will change your heart कि नहीं यार करना नहीं है. So how it happened? It happened when I kept on engaging with these people throughout and kept on playing cricket. जरूरी नहीं कि अच्छा खेलना है, but just because you had this good cricket or football with them, so that created a rapport, and that rapport help you in the crisis time. CA kind of things or NRC kind of things comes once in a while, and that once in a while is the deciding moment of the life, because if they start stone pelting or firing, you may be dead, or if police fire, they may be dead. So how can you counter that situations? It can be countered only when you have connect with the youth, when you have engaged with them throughout your tenure. So that are the things which we have taken care of, and we try to continue it. And that's the one of the reason I agreed कि नहीं यार I saw your profile. I saw team of young people with passion कि करना है कुछ. We want to do something. We want to create changes. We want to have good governance. You are asking questions like I used to ask 10 years back, and that is the thing I liked in you कि यार करना है कुछ. The same thing even we are doing. I heard Ira also talking about with this passion. So we all are contributing, taking one step at a time, and this one step at a time. If someday your effort, my effort, everyone's effort, one step at a time, it will bring a lot of changes. But yes, keep on kind of having this kind of sessions, which gives an idea कि नहीं यार, there are so many people, so many young people who are interested in making the changes. So that's the good initiative which I must compliment you for.
Thank you, sir. And I think these sessions not only gave us so much of innovative ideas that what you are doing, but also I think most importantly gave a lot of positive mindset to the people who are listening today. Like from the questions, like usually it is in the mind of people that to avoid going to a police station or have a different image. So when they see young and determined and passionate officer like you, I think even they feel confident as a citizen that they're in the safe hand. So this was an amazing session. And I really thank you for giving us so much of time and accepting our invitation. And also at the same time, sir, when you were talking about bringing youth in the mainstream, I would also be happy to tell you that one of the programs we launched today, although we haven't thought about it, was career counseling. Because the same thing we thought about, especially thinking of two people, one was tribal, and second was people in the tier 2, tier 3 cities. And also another group of youth for whom we are passionate thinking about the children who leaves orphanage home, because some orphanage home only allow students till certain age, and after that their destiny decides where they will go. They have no guidance, so only few fortunates who get a good home or something. So we are trying to do small things from our way. So we are also launching this career counseling, And we'll be also always be happy to help you in any small ways to our capacity. If we can help you with any of your initiatives or anything, we'll be very happy. And this is exactly what we're looking at, that how better the government and the citizen engage, and we are together able to, give a good and vibrant democracy for our country where we all are proud of. Yes, so sir, thank you once more, and we are really honored. And a big thank you from behalf of our entire team that we got this opportunity. So I would now like to request Sharanya or Vinay to give the vote of thanks.
Sir, personally, I am sitting stoked here. I have goosebumps listening to you. And when you started saying ki aapne jab shuru kiya, you started off on a similar note as how we are doing. And that makes me feel so proud ki, okay, we are going in the right direction. And the way you said about, collaborating with you now, it feels like we need to do something really more, so that now we know we are answerable to a person like you, and we know that your concern is there with us. So that is really motivating for us. And if I can say this, hands down, you have been the Singham of the entire Good Governance Week webinar series. Jo dabang aapne aaj dikhaya, I mean, this has been the most powerful session of the entire week. And I think I'm speaking for the entire audience here. They will agree. All your answers were holistic, enlightening, and so crisp. Each and every word that you spoke, from technology to technical aspects and from wisdom to weaponry. You covered everything so beautifully, and we are so proud and privileged to have someone like you with us, with their blessings and their support. We will make you proud, sir. We will do things that, take your vision ahead. Yes, sir, please go ahead.
Yes, I must conclude because I can see what you are doing. I used to do 10 years back when I was with, I Googled Saurav's profile also, LinkedIn and all. Right. You keep on doing a lot of things. That's a good part. That's a good part. Keep on doing it. And I'm sure if you maintain this kind of tempo, you're going to make wonders. You are going to make wonders. And we need people like you. We need people like you, like your team. And I wish a lot of people, new people come up, join it, and you make it big. And I'm sure the kind of efforts which you're taking, the kind of engagement you are doing, I'm sure you're going to make it big, not just the part of this initiative, in life also. And I would just like to put few words. There is this kavita, Hindi kavita. I'm sure you must have heard it. सिर्फ हंगामा खड़ा करना मेरा मकसद नहीं, सिर्फ हंगामा खड़ा करना मेरा मकसद नहीं, मेरे सीने में ना सही तेरे सीने में ही सही, मेरे सीने में ना सही तेरे सीने में ही सही, हो कहीं भी ये आग जलने दो. And keep this spirit up. Thank you.
Wonderful, sir. Wonderful. And we'd also like to look upon you as our mentor as well, because I think we have got a lot to learn from you as a mentor and a guide. So we would like to reach to you in that capacity as well.
Yes,
right?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Yes, you will be our Singham mentor, and we will definitely do you proud. Thank you for placing that trust in us. That means a lot to us, sir.
Thank you. Take care.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
God bless you.
Thank you so much, sir.